in which we're looking for the Grail, and the Grail is somehow consciousness, right? It's somehow redemption, right? It's somehow a deeper way to live. It's a better way to live, right? It's an element of joy. It's part of something which is very powerful, right? Right? We're seeking the Grail. We're seeking the Holy Grail. The initial image of seeking the Holy Grail is the search for the Ark of the Covenant. But what is it? What does it mean? What do the words mean? Right? You know, Thucydides. Remember Thucydides and Peloponnesian Wars? Everyone ever read that? There's a rule in my class. When I mention a book and you haven't read it, but you know, we kind of want to create an air of sophistication here, right? So just lie. Okay, so let me just try that one more time. Okay, here we go. Remember Thucydides and the Peloponnesian Wars? Yeah, totally. Oh my God, what a crowd, okay? So he's got this wonderful, thank you very much. He's got this wonderful idea. He says, when words lose their meaning, culture collapses. Kind of beautiful, right? Right? When words lose their meaning, culture collapses. So often in kind of New Age discussion, words lose their meaning. Love, light, auras. What does that mean? Right? Right? The Raiders of the Lost Ark, the Holy Grail, right? The basic, right, fundamental cultural quest of Western man and woman is the search for the Holy Grail. No one has any idea anymore what it means, right? Which is why we don't know what we're searching for. Right? The Da Vinci Codes kind of sweeps America because it kind of touches that, right? How many people read the Da Vinci Codes? Okay, right? So it kind of sweeps that. It kind of speaks to something. So the source in Kabbalah of this kind of Da Vinci Code, if you will, right, Holy Grail idea is the Ark of the Covenant. It's the lost Ark, which needs to be recovered. So let's try and unpack together. And what we want to do in the next few minutes is create a field of language. Now we're in meditative mode. Language is alive. The letters in Hebrew mysticism shimmer. Each letter shapes and dances together to form a word, and each word makes a particular erotic movement in order to form a sentence, right, in the languaging of the Zohar itself. So let's watch and let's move and let's weave together. Right? We want to try and recover the Ark. So first is, we're going to go 4 steps. Step 1, what's the Ark about? So I want to give you 3 strange images by way, in Socratic mode, of posing a question. Right? A question. What's a question? The quest I'm on. Right? The question, the quest I'm on. I want to pose a question. I want to engage with you in a quest. Right? And I want to invite you to the possibility, to the radical possibility, that actually in 1 hour and 4 minutes from now, when we walk out of this room, we might have touched something, we might have accessed some level of consciousness, some particular perspective, some insight, right, that will allow us to somehow move, dance, be in the world, which is somewhat different, somewhat deeper, somewhat more powerful. Now, if you don't believe that's true, you should actually leave now. You're actually wasting your time. Okay? Actually, the belief that something can happen, that I can actually enter the inside of reality and touch something and bring something down and move something in the inner source code of who I am, right, that belief, the belief that God is the possibility of possibility, that's the belief I want to invite you to now, okay? So it's just not another session. We want to do something together. We want to dance together. We want to open something up together. Remember Peter Pan? I do believe in fairies. I do. I do. Ready? I do believe in fairies. I do. I do. I do believe in fairies. I do. I don't hear you. I do. I do believe in fairies. I do. I do. Say, I do believe in fairies. I do. I do. So here we go. Okay, fairies coming down. Blessings, God. Atop the Ark of the Covenant. Atop the Ark of the Covenant. And the people who are stepping in and walking in now, the 1 or 2 people, whenever they come in, just step into the silence of presence. We're in a sacred energy field and kind of help us support it. Okay. Atop of the Ark of the Covenant, there are 2 cherubs. C-H-E-R-U-B-S. Guys, just kind of step in. People chatting there. I'm just going to ask you to step into our energy field. Right? Everyone's here. We're all in it together. One person's out, we're gone. Okay? Creating a sacred field. So the cherubs in the image of the Zohar are actually not as angelic as you might have first thought. According to the Zohar, and there's a great tradition based on manifold texts, the Shnei Kruvim, the 2 cherubs are Me'urim Ze B'Ze. Me'urim, in Ivrit, milashon erva, means they're sexually intertwined. That is to say, atop the Ark of the Covenant, you have, right, in this case, a heterosexual model, which comes from a couple thousand years ago, a male and female cherub. locked in sexual embrace. And the text reads, "V'no'adti lecha mi ben shnei hakruvim." God speaks in that space between the sexually intertwined cherubs. All of a sudden, the ark takes on some other cast. Right? What exactly is that ark about? Right? Why are we searching for that lost ark other than kind of the male visual drive, right? Another image. But what are we looking for? That's the ark. The ark which is in the Holy of Holies of the temple. It's in the Sanctum Sanctorum. That ark, can you imagine if in your local church, meditation center, synagogue, right, mosque, right, the religious leader came in while the board was on vacation, right, and redecorated. Okay? Now I have to tell you that in the temple in Jerusalem, not only was there a pair of cherubs above the ark and the Holy of Holies, there were two freestanding cherubs in Solomon's temple, and the walls of the entire temple were covered with different forms of imagery of these two sexually intertwined cherubs. Kind of makes going to shul a little more interesting. Okay? Right? So what does that mean? So what does that mean? I mean, clearly, right, you know, the temple's not supposed to be the Playboy Mansion. Okay, so there's something happening here, right? It's not just some affirmation that sexuality is positive. Right? That's a kind of pallid, right, and superficial, right, play with this, right? And the opposite of the holy is the superficial. Okay, the opposite of the holy, right, is the superficial, right? Divinity derives from depth. So number two, I'll give you a second image. I'm just going to give you two texts. That's it, just to get a sense of the problematics here. Right? What is this temple? What's the Grail quest? What is the Da Vinci codes? What is the lost ark that we're seeking? And I want to also invite you to engage in delayed gratification. Right? Because generally, right, when we study Kabbalah, we refuse to say anything until about halfway through. Because there's this kind of need. Tell me something now. Entertain me now. So the Kabbalist says, no. Step inside. Go for a walk with me. Let's trust each other. Let's create sacred space. It'll come down gorgeously. But just breathe. Delay gratification. Okay? We'll get there. Let's frame it. Okay? Let's create a sacred frame. Step two. I want to read you step two, image two, creating the problematic, trying to understand the nature of this lost ark that we're raiding. Step two. In the Talmud, the following legal case is discussed. Okay? And whenever I teach Talmud, I always teach like a little bit of Jewish yoga, because you need some Jewish yoga actually in order to study Talmud. That's important to know. So if I could ask everyone, right, but really with great gravitas and sincereness, to please place your left hand out. How many people here do yoga, by the way? Who do yoga? So this is going to be very helpful to what I'm about to show you, okay? If you could please place your left hand out. Left hand out, left hand, try not to hit anyone. Left hand out. Okay? Now, your thumb in kind of a direct position up. Ready? Now go like this. Yeah! Try it. Yeah. You don't got it yet? Try it one more time. Yeah. One more time. Yeah. That's it. Jewish yoga, the entire thing. I mean, isn't that great? I mean, you know, kind of all those postures and poses. Oh, my God. Right? It's just so easy, right? And now you realize how we've made it through diaspora for a couple thousand years. It's been working well. Okay, so yeah. So the Talmud discusses the following case. Right? A man comes home early from work, and he finds his wife on a bed, completely undressed. And by the bed, says the Talmud in two separate texts, by the bed there are cookies. And the man's about to eat the cookies. And right as he's about to eat the poisoned cookies, he hears a voice coming from the closet, and the voice cries out, "No, they're poison, don't eat them." And he opens the closet door, and there is the milkman, dressed surprisingly similar to his wife. Right? So the Talmud asks the following legal question: is the milkman to be considered an adulterer or not? Clearly, he hasn't been caught in the act, so we have no actual information, but can we assume inductively from the circumstances that he is an adulterer? And the first opinion in the Talmud is, what do you think? Do you think he's an adulterer or not? Well, says the Talmud, if he would be an adulterer, he would want to get the woman. And if he would want to get the woman, the best way to get the woman would be the man should eat the poison cookies. So if he stopped the man gewalt geschrigen from eating the poison cookies, he must be a holy saint who just got lost, couldn't quite find where to put the milk. Okay, that's the first opinion in the Talmud. And then another voice from the back of the Beit Midrash, the back of the study hall, backbencher raises his hand and he says, no, 999, nish, nish, nish.